with $250,000 and a head chef position at a prestigious restaurant up for grabs. It's no surprise that Hell's Kitchen contestants sometimes choose to play a little dirty. Here are 6 times that chefs seem to have prioritized personal gain over teamwork to get ahead. The first examples of blatant sabotage in Hell's Kitchen were seen in Season 1, and perhaps the worst of the underhanded behavior that year was carried out by Wray. Michael had a rough start in the competition, as Chef Ramsay appeared completely unimpressed with his signature dish of quail eggs with scallops, which he had failed to prepare properly.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
You've got a palate like a cow's backside.
Yes, sir.
That is disgusting.
As well as criticizing his food, Chef Ramsay sometimes seemed to have issues with Michael's attitude. When the blue team was forced to work without air conditioning as a punishment for losing a challenge, Michael couldn't help but comment on the heat.
Damn, it's hot in here.
Yeah, you're right, Michael. Right now, I don't need a big drama queen in my hands, you know that.
Another blue team member who had a similarly tricky start was Ralph Pagano. His signature dish was judged equally harshly by Chef Ramsay.
And you work professionally in the restaurant?
It's true.
And what position are you?
The number 1.
You're the number 1?
Yeah.
With that shit?
Despite their wobbly starts, Michael and Ralph soon emerged as 2 of the strongest contenders to win the $250,000 Hell's Kitchen prize. Something that Michael in particular was well aware of.
It'd have been really great to have Ralph eliminated. He's definitely, this whole time, has been my biggest competition.
Ralph had certainly grown to impress Chef Ramsay and sailed through the first few weeks. He had tried to support the other chefs on his team as the weeks passed, but was rethinking this approach as he chatted to Michael about gaining their places in the final 5.
Unfortunately, working hard and trying to help people is coming back to backfire on me the last 2 days.
The pair continued to fight it out in the kitchen until the very last week, when they were named the final 2 contestants. And this time, it was Michael's turn to question how to get ahead.
My politeness is really a downfall in Hell's Kitchen here. I too easily become friends with somebody.
He seemed to be hinting that there would be no more Mr. Nice Guy. And what he did next proved just that. Michael and Ralph were given the chance to have a dress rehearsal for their final service. And as part of that experience, Chef Ramsay would step away from the pass and give them a chance to run the kitchen. As well as calling tickets and coordinating timings, that included quality control for every plate leaving the hot plate. Michael took his turn and was told he needed to focus on having a bigger voice. When it came to Ralph's turn, he appeared to be a natural leader. But Michael, who was responsible for cooking the crab risotto, had a plan.
Trying to see how many can go without having crab in them.
What are you talking about?
It's my risottos.
Ralph failed to taste test multiple dishes before they were sent out. And before long, one of the construction workers returned his risotto as it didn't seem to contain crab. Ralph immediately knew this was no mistake, and had been done to deliberately undermine him in front of Chef Ramsay. But he was angry with himself rather than Michael, and had a refreshing take on the situation.
It made me stronger, truth be told. So if he did attack me, I thank him for it, because tomorrow I will never let that happen.
Chef Ramsay was bemused that Ralph had dropped the ball, but was unusually calm about the sabotage attempt. In fact, he seemed to be quietly impressed by the unsportsmanlike and devious behavior.
Michael had Ralph look stupid and took him down big time. That was an interesting lesson, but a very clever move from Michael's behalf.
Michael gained Chef Ramsay's attention for this intentional mistake, and he went on to win the service and the prize, just as he had predicted.
I will win this, Chef Ramsay. Got everything on the line for this.
In later seasons, Gordon actually adopted Michael's technique and deliberately sabotaged dishes to check each chef's ability to maintain the highest standards while running the pass. So, a lesson was learned, but maybe not the right one. Season 12's Blue Team had a rough ride in Week 10. It started badly for Ralph Johnson, who was sharing a room with Gabriel, as he struggled to get much sleep. The next day, as the men prepped for dinner service at Chef Ramsay's gastropub, Ralph began feeling tired, weak, and feverish. He was sent to see the medic, who recommended that he rest in the dorm. That meant more work for the rest of the team, though most of them were sympathetic, because they felt Gabriel was to blame.
In a nutshell, it's really all your fault because you don't let him sleep.
If you don't get sleep, then your immune system gets compromised.
Yeah, but ain't none of us getting sleep, man.
You're sleeping, I heard.
Ralph returned to the kitchen for service, but the evening didn't go well. Scott was in trouble for serving watery salad and soft, mushy French fries. And Ralph, who was still feeling dizzy and feverish, messed up the fish from his fish and chips, sending it raw. It wasn't plain sailing for Gabriel either, who struggled with giving accurate timings, and then failed to have his chicken ready when it was needed.
How long, Gabe?
7 minutes.
You said that 2 minutes ago, Gabe.
6 minutes.
It seemed like it was 20 minutes.
With diners giving up and walking out hungry after long waits. Gordon called the red team in to help, but they still failed to come together. He had seen enough. The blue team was told to get out of the kitchen and come up with 2 names for elimination. Back in the dorm, the finger-pointing began, but after a short discussion, the majority vote went to Gabriel for his past performance failures, and to Scott for that evening's slip-up. Down in the dining room, Chef Ramsay asked Gabe for the first nominee, and he named Scott as planned. But when it was time to name himself as the second vote, he went off script.
Second nominee, and why?
Chef Ralph.
Gabriel's teammates were quick to correct him, but the betrayal was complete. Ralph was on the chopping block. In fairness to Gabriel, back in the dorms, he had warned them that he wasn't going down without a fight.
I'm not going up.
All right, well, we're all voted for you, so
It doesn't matter. I'm not going up.
it's not your choice, dumb fuck.
Gordon decided that all 3 of them would be considered, and announced that Ralph wasn't ready for the coveted job he was offering, before eliminating him.
They backed me up in the corner, and I had to do what I had to do. At the end of the day, I'm here to win. Period.
Ralph was effectively sabotaged, as his name wouldn't have been in the mix if it hadn't been for Gabe, who made it through another few weeks before getting canned. Season 11 saw an act of sabotage that led to a controversial elimination, with many viewers criticizing Chef Ramsay's decision to punish the victim of the seemingly underhanded attack. With 26 years of kitchen experience under his belt, you might have expected Zach Womack to have a thick skin when it came to cursing. But when his teammate, Wray Alongi, used the F word towards him, he didn't forget, and it looked like he wanted Wray to pay. At the end of week 10, Zach was put up for elimination by his teammates, and it's safe to say that, despite surviving the ceremony, he wasn't happy with them about it.
If you was on fire, I want to put you out with piss. It's not even a blue team no more. It's Team Zach.
During the private dinner service, Wray was chosen to assist Zach at the pass. But as punishment for Wray earlier throwing him under the bus with the nomination, he was haphazardly plating the pasta. Chef Ramsay pointed out the different sized portions, and Zach corrected Wray multiple times. But the problem continued.
Half a portion, full portion. Jack, do me a favor. Fuck off from here, please. Take it over here. You're killing me. You're killing me.
It seems that moment of lost temper from Wray came back to bite him, as Zach once again suggested he wasn't going to forgive and forget. When an urgent refire came in, Wray asked Zach for help preparing a lobster tail by poaching it in butter sauce. Zach did just that, but in retaliation for being cursed at, he didn't heat the sauce, and instead sent it up to the pass cold. Chef Ramsay intercepted the cold lobster and rejected it before it could hit the dining room. The good news for Wray was that at least Gordon seemed to know exactly who was to blame.
I got you.
You stand by and watch him fucking sabotage you?
I'm so fucking pissed at Zach. I'm like, dude, you fucked me.
Despite being busted by Chef Ramsay, Zach was pleased with how his plan had gone down and appeared to feel that it was justified.
Earlier, Chef Wray tells me to fuck off. And now I'm definitely going to get revenge. I'm trying to sabotage him.
Both teams were named losers that night and were asked to each nominate one chef. Zach initially managed to avoid nomination that night, when Wray was put up for his lack of leadership. But during the ceremony, Wray came out fighting and told Chef Ramsay that, as well as sabotaging the pasta portions, Zach had failed to poach the lobster tail as he was asked. When he was told that Zach had been up to even more tricks in the kitchen, Gordon had a surprise for him.
Nedra, Wray, Zach, step forward.
It was time to make a decision, and Chef Ramsay considered eliminating Wray, Zach, or even both of them.
Wray, please give me your jacket.
Yes, chef.
Once again, despite witnessing a chef deliberately undermining his teammate, Chef Ramsay decided to give him a pass and instead sent Wray, the victim of his mischief, home instead. That was an unpopular decision with some fans, who felt that Zach's sabotage shouldn't have been rewarded. In Season 8, it took less than a week for Sabrina Brimhall to decide how the rest of the team felt about her. And it wasn't all sunshine and roses.
I know that people clearly just don't like me, but I'm not here for them.
With her outspoken nature, Sabrina may have felt that she was becoming a target, but she didn't seem to try very hard to win the others over. When the red team lost challenges, she was quick to point fingers at who she felt was to blame. And when backed into a corner, she quickly got personal.
She can't cook asparagus, she snores, and it keeps us all awake. And I honestly believe she's good for nothing, Chef.
Sabrina admitted in a confessional that she wasn't a great team player, and Chef Ramsay was quick to agree.
Sabrina, you are quite frankly the most selfish cook in here.
Sabrina worked hard during dinner service to impress Chef Ramsay, but by week 3, the hours of tough and boring prep work were getting to her. And the rest of the red team became frustrated that she kept disappearing and wasn't pulling her weight.
I just don't think that Chef Ramsay's looking for a fucking strong prep cook.
During the 4th dinner service, Italian night, Sabrina's behavior was called out as sabotage by some fans when she appeared to go out of her way to make teammate Gail look bad.
Everybody thinks that I'm stupid, but you know what? I'm one manipulative mother.
Sabrina was on the meat station and was struggling to cook her pork chops correctly. Her timings were inconsistent, and Chef Ramsay seemed increasingly irritated by her inability to communicate with her team and stick to their timeline.
Chef, my pork...
Just give me a fucking time!
Okay, 4 minutes on my pork,
Thank you!
Chef!
Talk to your team then!
Yes, Chef!
Melissa was sent over to help her, and Gail, who was running the pasta station, tried to adjust her own timings to make sure that they were in sync, and their dishes hit the pass together. However, Gail, along with many viewers, began to get suspicious of the ever-changing timings.
I don't trust Sabrina at all. She doesn't know her timing and her temperatures. I'm gonna start my 2 spaghettis.
No. Just wait, please wait.
After telling Gail to hold her pasta for a few minutes, Sabrina announced that her pork was ready and walked it to the pass, leaving Chef Ramsay calling out Gail for not being ready with her spaghetti.
This is comical! You're the most experienced. All these fucking gaps in between the dishes going out is not good enough!
Sabrina chuckled to herself about Gail looking bad, leading some viewers to accuse her of maliciously throwing Gail under the bus.
We're waiting for the pasta now.
It just makes Gail look bad.
Back in Season 2, the first few weeks resulted in a power struggle in the Red Kitchen, and Sara Horowitz was keen to establish herself as the leader. She apparently didn't care what her teammates thought of her, as long as they recognized her talent for cooking.
And I've just proved myself that, hey, I might be an idiot as a person, but I'm a damn good chef.
In Week 4's dinner service, Sara was responsible for adding scallops to Rachel's appetizer dish. When Chef Ramsay asked why they weren't walking to the pass with the completed dish, there seemed to be some confusion between the two.
Are we ready, yes?
Yeah, I was waiting for her call, Chef.
You're waiting for her call, yeah?
Called it 3 times.
Sara denied that Rachel had called to her, but it seemed pretty clear to Sara and the viewers that she had done just that. And Sara had even replied,
I need my scallops, please.
They're in the pan. I'll get them to you in 2 seconds.
Sara didn't seem unhappy with the mix-up, whether it was deliberate or not. As long as she was in Gordon's good books, other people didn't appear to matter.
Chef Ramsay can't stand you right now. I don't necessarily see that as such a bad thing.
When it was time to move on to making the entrees, it was Virginia's turn to work with Sara, and a more obvious act of sabotage appeared to take place, once again related to communication. When Virginia sent her risotto to the pass ready for service, Gordon asked for the other dishes from the same ticket.
Where's the turbot?
Chef, I haven't fired it yet.
No, she said that she's ready.
No.
That's another big mix-up, where Sara apparently didn't hear or reply to a call from a teammate. Except that once again, she actually did say that she was ready.
How close are you to the turbot and the tortellini?
I'm ready and waiting for your call.
Even though Sara had heard and responded to the call, Gordon was irate and blamed Virginia for the mess. He accused her of lying to his face and not caring about the customers or her fellow chefs. Sara watched the confrontation between the two while silently smiling to herself.
You're not here as a team member, are you?
Yes, I am,
You're out
Chef.
for yourself, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
So where's the fucking turbot?
Back in the dorms, as the red team discussed their nomination for that night, Virginia was visibly upset about the incident, and couldn't believe that, if it had been an honest mistake, Sara hadn't spoken up to tell her the truth and defend her.
To have Chef Ramsay call me a liar, and it just breaks my heart. Why are you so passive-aggressive?
Instead of apologizing, Sara told Virginia that these moments would be the making of her, and continued to show no remorse for her actions.
Right now is the weed out process in the game where, you take your friendships, you put them aside, and you want the golden ticket.
To make the situation seem even more unfair, that night, Chef Ramsay made a somewhat surprising start to the nomination ceremony.
Sara, you showed some initiative.
Thank you, Chef.
There was another bitter pill for Virginia to swallow right around the corner when Sara revealed that she was the red team's nominee to leave the show because of her mistakes that night. Chef Ramsay seemed surprised at that decision and suggested that Rachel, who had also struggled to work with Sara that day, would have made a better choice. Virginia wasn't eliminated and went on to go further in the competition than Sara. And Sara earned herself the title of cold and remorseless villain from some viewers that year.
I thought you were somebody different. I thought you were actually like a good person. Well,
Our final, possible act of sabotage took place in Season 17, Hell's Kitchen All-Stars. Manda Palomino might have a severe gluten allergy, but she didn't let that worry her, even when she had to produce perfect pasta on the hot appetizer station. Manda decided to rely on her teammates to taste her spaghetti to make sure it was cooked, because she couldn't eat it herself.
I can tell when pasta's done just by looking at it, so Manda should be able to do it too. I need a mouth!
When the time came, Manda chose the season's eventual winner, Michelle Tribble, to try a piece and tell her whether it was cooked properly.
Taste that for me. Is that done? 30 more seconds. Okay.
After giving it a little more time, she sent her dishes to the pass, but Chef Ramsay wasn't happy. The pasta was raw and crunchy, and she needed to start again. If this was an act of sabotage by Michelle, it wasn't a good one. Gordon was well aware that Manda couldn't sample the pasta, and he asked who had taken responsibility for it. So Michelle quickly found herself in the firing line. When Manda needed her refired tested, she once again asked Michelle for her opinion. This time, Michelle said the spaghetti was cooked, but Elise also tried it and realized that once again it was raw. Michelle seemed completely unbothered by her mistake, but Manda went on to ask Elise for her expertise on the pasta for the rest of the service. Michelle carried on at the meat station, but had an unfortunate slip-up as she went to put her lamb in the refrigerator. Manda seemed to know exactly why it had happened.
This is karma for the raw pasta. Michelle's gonna have a bruise on her ass. Huge.
The red team was safe from elimination that week, and Michelle went on to win the season, so we're sure her little bump didn't hold her back.